Hey, hello everyone. It's good to have you here. Caitlin, thank you for joining. I thought I'm only just emerging. Yeah, it's felt like a long week and a half with COVID. Last Monday I came down. I was feeling so achy. It's like, what on earth's going on? And yeah, came up positive on lateral flow. I'm only just beginning to get there. Alberto, lovely to have you. Thank you for joining. So yeah, I'm only just emerging. Definitely taking it slowly and gently. I feel fine, but a bit washed out, I have to say. Definitely. Hello, Adrian. I was due to have my vaccine tomorrow as a healthcare staff, and you're offered that to protect those vulnerable patients. And I was just about to go and have my COVID vaccine, and then it struck. How annoying. Definitely more of a wipeout than I was expecting, but obviously we all know it can be very serious. So it's best if you catch it just to keep away from others, really let yourself rest and recover. Thank you. Yes, I am now fine. So I'm slowly getting there. And I've got a little bit of origami to share with you. I won't wait a few minutes before. I was looking through my bookshelves, and this is a book which the British Origami Society very kindly gave me, a Robert Harburn book. And of course, he's the person who was their first president and magician, and really encouraged it to blossom and bloom, I think, in this country. So there was a fold in there, which is a traditional fold, which I didn't know before, which I thought was rather delightful, and it felt quite familiar as well. So looking forward to sharing that. Yeah, it's a nice book. Let's see when it was. I think it was maybe 1970s, this one. Let's see when it was from. There's some really nice advice in there as well. I thought I'd read a few bits from. So it's copyright 1974. That's when I was born, actually. So yeah. So it's a lovely book with some new designs at the time. Maybe I'll read out a few things from it because it's rather lovely. Let me see what I can read you. All you need is a piece of foldable paper and an idea in mind. And sooner or later, something delightful will evolve. I thought that was lovely advice. Other things in here, which I really liked. Origami is not meant to be easy. I like that advice. Origami is a challenge, and it is possible that some time will pass before you solve all the problems I've laid before you. Eric, it's lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining. I do hope you're keeping well. Melvin, lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining. I'm just reading out a few sentences of wisdom from Robert Harburn. I love how he writes about origami. Let me see. And actually, yeah, I think the ending as well is quite good. Although I've tried to put in as much detail as possible into the illustrations, provides as many step-by-step drawings as is possible for you to discover from the signs, symbols, and a few helpful words. That's always the case with the origami. You're having to sort of solve and make those connections, and actually diagrams are very hard. Well, some people I know have sort of grown up with them and really like them, but a lot of us find diagrams very hard. But in a way, they're like clues. Thumbs up, yes. Oh, yeah. I hope you've all been keeping well. I'm just, as I was saying, just emerging from COVID. I think I should be negative now on my lateral flow. Yesterday I had a faint line, and was positive from Monday. That night I was so achy and just been having to completely rest up. It absolutely wiped me out. And yeah, another member of my family, but we've just been hiding away, just resting as much as possible, and finally beginning to emerge. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better, but aware not to push it. I think give this virus respect, keep away from others who are vulnerable, and give your own body time to heal and repair. I feel fine, but I feel a bit unreal. It's almost a bit like my legs don't feel quite there, which sounds quite disturbing actually, but it's they just feel a bit faint. I definitely feel a bit lightheaded, but I feel good in myself, which is really good. And for a while, I just sat there. Ugh. So I really hope you don't meet the latest rounds. There feels like a lot of people have COVID at the moment. I think we would have caught it from a school environment, which is impossible to protect yourself from. I was due for a vaccine tomorrow. Just it's too late. The vaccine's coming round. But anyway, taking it easy for now. So we're going to do a nice piece of origami, and it's in this book, and it's a traditional fold that I hadn't come across before, but it feels very familiar. So it's this one here, which is a traditional Japanese box. And I'm thinking last year I was in Japan, and the hotel that I was staying in, there was a little origami box, and it had some acorns in it, and I just thought it was so lovely, like a little offering celebrating the seasons. So this box is this traditional box, which I really like, and I'd never made one like this before. And it'll feel probably quite familiar with other things that we've done, or maybe that you've done. Do any of you know this? And you get these nice little triangle pieces down. I've sort of given it this rim, which I don't think it necessarily traditionally has, but I like it like that. And maybe you could go and treat yourself with gathering some acorns outside and making your own little offering. So grab some paper. Yeah, I was really glad last week. I don't know whether you'd only find it secondhand, Alberto, if you did, but it's called Rubber Hub. Rubber Hub is origami, a step-by-step guide. Mostly it's not traditional. Oh, that's good, Melvin. Yeah, I hadn't made it before. I didn't know it at all, but it feels like a mixture of things. Yeah, I don't know how much I would recommend it. Mostly it's designs from others, which I guess were kind of new designs at the time. I've tended to go for the traditional a bit more because I think people are only just starting origami and more likely to be able to do it. And so I'm probably not going to do the really complicated ones. Yeah, it's like start simple, and actually I just find such joy in these relatively simple folds. Right, I've got some A4 paper. This came from a square from half A4 piece of paper, A5. So what I'm going to do is take my piece of paper. If you've got origami paper, that will be perfect. If you haven't, then yeah, you can fold your letter or A4 in half. Oh, welcome, Wendy. Thank you for joining. There we go. Actually, this time I've been sort of too unwell to do much, but I've been compiling lots of feedback from patients, which I've gathered over the years, and it's been a really good chance to type everything up and then slowly analyse it. And it's not been really, really heartwarming reading comments as to how much people really do appreciate and enjoy sessions which we offer in the hospital. So it's really quite inspiring. Oh, I'm glad. I'm the same, Eric. Actually, well, not quite the same, but I really struggle with diagrams. I don't think it's the way that we would ever learn things. Although it is great because it is, a book's really handy if you've got how to fold things in. But I personally find it very, very hard. It's like it doesn't quite translate 3D from that, but it's a good puzzle. And some people manage okay with diagrams and other people don't. I do struggle a bit. So it tends to only be fairly simple things I'll be willing to persist or see it as a clue. I mean, to some extent, Robert Harpin's saying that, see it as a bit of a clue rather than thinking that you can fold it completely. I'm just going to quickly for myself decorate the box. You've obviously got different sides. We'll have outside of it, and then you've got the inside. So I think I'm going to give myself just a quick little bit there. Just a bit of colour inside as well. So if you take this as the white side, I'm still doing a bit of decoration in there. So get your origami paper together. It's a very autumnal day here at the moment, very sort of dark, and it feels like good weather to start wanting to do origami again. Get cozy. Oh, yeah, I think it is a bit of guessing the moves, isn't it? But for really complicated ones, I'm like, I haven't got the heart to go through it all. So this would be my white side, and this would be my pattern side. So let me know when you're ready to get folding, and we will get folding. It's good to feel I've actually got a fairly strong voice despite being ill, because sometimes that can be really effective. But it's definitely not a cold, the COVID. Just felt almost hungover, flu-y, achy, migraine-y. Wasn't good. And I ended up crawling up the stairs because I just felt so rubbish. Yeah. Anyway, obviously it could be a lot worse than that. So this will be my white side. So fold it in half along that diagonal to make a triangle, like so. That's it. And looking at nice triangle. It's like a little hat. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I think with diagrams, if it's a relatively simple fold, you feel you get there. If it's really complicated, I find it hard to even begin because it just feels like I'm never going to get there. That's not the right attitude. But I much prefer films. I think it's how we learn from people is seeing. I found it very helpful for access to films. Yeah. And I think it is about time together, really. But still grateful there are such books because you want to preserve these things. I tend to do little diagrams for myself. That's my little diagram. But it wouldn't be followable unless you know it already. And it's kind of, yeah, that's what I find. It's more of a reminder, I find. So as it is now, fold it in half again, corner to corner. Let me know if you need me to repeat anything or it's not clear. So I folded in half to make a triangle. Folded that triangle in half to make a right angle. Oops. It's still a bit wobbly actually. I'm easily dropping things at the moment. There we go. It's only paper. So you've got a little pocket there. So I want you with the pocket, pop your finger down to the bottom and squash it up to make a square. Like so. Like so. And then if you turn to the back, lifting that, so think of it like a little sail, little sail that could stick up. So you're not adding any extra lines, but you're just getting it to stick up. It's a bit like making a crane at this point. And there's a few ways of getting to this. But anyway, this is how I'm doing it. Again, pop your finger in, bring it up to make a square. And just let me know if it's not clear. Probably to some extent expecting that you know what you're doing, but do say if you're not, because yeah, just to consider that it's for everybody. Yay. So it's a square, it's kind of open at the top. I'll wait till you say that you're good, I think, first of all. Has anyone made this box before, this traditional Japanese box? Yeah, it's not one that I knew. Great, thanks, Caleb. Great. So lovely. No, not yet. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I know. I was really surprised to find a traditional something I didn't know. Lovely. So we're going to take the outside and bring it to the middle point. So bringing it to the middle point. And I guess trying to keep it parallel. There. It sort of reminds me of the start box, but it's altered so it's square. I don't know. It's one of those things not to think about too much, probably. And then the other side, the same thing. So they should meet together, but keeping this parallel. And then this side, like so. It's quite satisfying when you've got a few lines. It's looking quite nice, isn't it? Very simple lines can look quite good when you start folding. It's just changing positions of things. Lovely. Presuming you've managed that one nice and parallel, then turn to the back and the same thing. Great. Oh, really? Excellent. You've made it. Good. Yeah, I just didn't know about this one. But it reminded me, as I said, of in a hotel, how it was a nice little box with acorns. I thought it was really sweet. It was a nice excuse to go out and look for some. It definitely felt like they'd been sitting on the ground a while, the acorns. I think everything's been dropping quite early. Our autumn's been coming very early, really. There we go. Sounds good. Right. Are you happy? Looking like this, front and back? Yeah. Oh, we're missing Stephen. I feel like Stephen's not here. I hope he's well. I probably don't advertise this very well in advance. So, best wishes to you, Stephen, if you're watching afterwards. Thinking of you. Yeah. So now we're going to take this bottom line. So this is open at the top. This bottom line, and fold it up, which is basically halving that area. So I'm going to take that bottom edge and push it up and do that the same on the other side. There we go. Just to give a fold, like so. Let's do the same thing on the back as well while we're there. So turn it to the back. Same thing, that bottom edge, bringing that up, lining it up, and a squash. Yeah, very much missing Penny. I was thinking that, Eric. I'm not forgetting or not thinking of Penny. She's, such a shame. And COVID too. COVID in that mix. It's so cruel. I think it's a disease that can just get you when you're vulnerable. And dear Penny, such a lovely, lovely human being. Such a generous, kind soul. I'm still almost imagining I'll just get a message from her suddenly. It's impossible to imagine she's not here. Well, she is here in our hearts. Yeah, very grateful to have got to have known Penny, even, a little bit. I felt she was a really good friend. She was clearly a good friend to so many people. And I had no idea she had real health problems of her own. Typical of her to focus on others and to be so kind. And let her always be an inspiration. Let us hold her in our hearts. Anyone who knew her, with love and affection and the generosity and kindness, and keep that going through the origami. She obviously really saw that generosity and community, and she made an effort for people and let us make that effort for each other as well. Honouring you, Penny. There we go. Lovely. Oh, there's the little details in life, isn't it? She was chasing. Oh, bless her. Oh, those little things, but hey, that's life. Yeah, sending much love. So we folded these. Yeah, let this be another fold for Penny. Let all folds be for Penny, definitely. So we're going to undo that fold. Yeah. And I want you to then to pop your finger into there. Yeah, we're very lucky to have known Penny, aren't we? Pop your finger in there and then squash it in the middle so it looks like that kite shape. So if you do that on both sides, so if you open it up, pop your finger in and squash it down. Stephen, I was just saying, I'm missing Stephen. I hope he's okay. Welcome, Stephen. Actually, I'm thinking of you because this box somehow, it reminds me a little bit of a star box. So I think of you with the star box. So Stephen, we're making this, which is a traditional box. So if you make that, that square, which is gathered at the top, gathered at the bottom, open at the top. And then what we did, Stephen, was we took each, let me see, we took each side and we took the outside to the middle, like so. And then we folded that bottom edge up to the outside. Don't know if we're able to catch up with this, but you're so familiar with folds that you may be able to. And then each one of those folds we're undoing, squashing down to make that kite-like shape. And then the bit that sticks out, if you just fold that back behind itself. Yeah, this is in a Robert Harbin book but it's a traditional fold. And it's from a lovely book that the British Origami Society very kindly gave me for inspiration. Much appreciated. Right. And of course, we were just saying, Stephen, how much we continue, obviously, to miss Penny greatly. I turn to the back. And then again, opening these. Pop your finger in. Squash it to make that triangle shape. Well, kite-like shape. I'm only just beginning to emerge, Stephen, from COVID. This is the first time I've had it. I've managed to avoid being very, very careful. But yeah, you have someone going to school, they're going to pick it up inevitably. And I was just before getting a vaccine. So immunity was waning. Alas. There we go. But we're okay. We've been just resting up. I think that's the right thing to do. Keep away from others. Let your own body heal. It's not worth pushing it. So hopefully, is it looking like that for you? Yeah. Great. Are you ready to fold the next step? I hope, Stephen, it's not been too bewildering. Do you know this? Do you know this box, Stephen? I was in Japan last year, and there was a hotel I was staying in. I loved there was a little origami box and some acorns in it, so I wanted to fold myself a little box. I don't think it was this one, but it was obviously a traditional box. Yeah, and it just felt like a nice little offering for this time of year. Right, so our next move is we're going to fold this from here and here. Can you see the top of those kite shapes? Just the top one. Oh, lovely. Oh, well done, Stephen. Thought you might. That's lovely to hear. I don't know whether any of you ever saw, Penny shared with me, a few years ago. I think we did a fold of a traditional crow. and I was just saying how much I'd love to get to know a crow. I love carrion. They're obviously so bright. Oh, you're very welcome, Alberto. And she said that because of course her mum was particularly, her whole family was looking after birds that they had found, and they'd been abandoned, orphaned, and she showed me the most beautiful photograph of herself when she was in the 1960s, looking very cool, holding this beautiful crow or raven. She said it lived for 25 years, very affectionate, very beautiful. And that's how I think of Penny. It's really beautiful, very cool. Right, so turn to the back, same thing again. So folding from the top of these. Have you ever made this box before, Stephen? It feels yeah, it feels almost slightly Starbucks, but a bit different as well. And maybe actually, if we think of as leaves of a book, you can turn to another page and do the same thing. That's it. Does feel familiar, yeah. Absolutely. Well, it certainly feels familiar because we've done folds like this, but I wonder whether you've actually done this. I hadn't, but and yet it feels familiar. Maybe you have folded it very lightly. Again, top down. Yeah. So I've ended up doing a few more folds actually. Because I quite like having this sort of rim on top. It also made it feel a bit stronger, but I thought it looked better too. So hopefully it's looking like that for you. So what I want you to do is for each of these sides, we're going to fold it down where it naturally goes. So it's, I guess, the top of that little kite bit. Folding that down. And then opening it up and just folding this to meet that line. So it's folding it again. Does that make sense? So I'm now folding it down to that line. And that's what I'm going to do for each side. Like that. That way you've got this little triangle sticking out, which is quite nice. And it feels a bit more solid with this. So I took this side, folded it down to where it naturally goes. That's it. And then I opened it up, get that little triangle down, and then I'm going to divide this in half by lining up with that. So it's making a sort of a rim. Alas, the camera's not mirroring anymore, so I end up having to show myself in order to do it before I could work into the mirror. Again, flick through to another side. So halving that. Again, sorry, first of all, folding it down to where it naturally goes. And then I'm opening that up, keeping that little triangle down, and then halving this. There we go. For myself, I've only got one more side to do. So again, bringing that down, opening it up, keep that little triangle down, and again, halving that. So it lines up with the line you just made, and that's it. That's it. So on each of the sides, we're almost there. Hopefully looking like this. Nice little box. Are you good? Are you ready for the final fold? And then when you open it up, really? So great. Thank you, Eric. Lovely. So our final fold is to just, first of all, just give a line. So from there, that bottom of that triangle to the other one. So just pushing that up. And you'll probably find that it will, yeah, for me, it lines up with the top of that little rim there. Bit of a squash there. That's it. And then undoing it. And time for your box to open. So get that line there. And then all you need to do is open it up and start to open up the bottom of it. Again, I think as Robert Hardman says, it's almost like these things are clues. Ultimately, you're having to work out yourself, which I think is where the ownership and that, even if, you know, other people have made origami before you, it's also your discovery when you do it. Magic in the pocket, indeed. So Opening that base, making it nice square. And hopefully, I'm just doing it as a little, you're very welcome. It's quite a nice little box, isn't it? And you could maybe put some acorns or whatever you want in there. Quite a nice spacious little box. I've ended up pushing these little rims down a bit just so it's stronger. Of course, there's no glue, it's all nice little square. Feels quite strong. Yes. I see. Yes, so maybe a very long time ago. But it's not a traditional one I knew before, so I was quite delighted to find that. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's a lovely little fold. Oh, glad you enjoyed it. And maybe this was the lovely diagram that you would have looked at many years ago, Stephen. Yeah, lovely. So happy folding. I hope you all continue to keep well, and I hope you can, avoid the virus. Oh, I hope it's gone well for you, Stephen. I hope it's ending well. Oh, waiting's not fun, is it? Thank you, Eric. Thank you. Yeah, I'm still a little bit wobbly, to be honest. I'm keeping away from the hospital this week, and I may have an outing to London, but I'll go very slowly and very carefully. Definitely feel I'm not as strong as usual, but I feel good in myself, so I'm very happy about that. Take care, everyone. Look after yourselves. It's really good to see you. Thank you for joining. I know it's very erratic. It probably is more like once a month these days, but at least it's still going. And I hope you keep well, keep folding, and look after yourselves, and keep sharing that care with others as well. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, that's a good idea, Easter eggs. Yes, I can see that. Very good idea. Take care. Bye. Bye. Glad to see you all too. Thank you, Alberto.